Hello guys, welcome back to Wow IAS. So welcome to this prelims test series discussion of Vision IAS, and this is part 2 of the fourth test where we will discuss from question number 26 to question number 60. So the major aim of discussing this test series is that you will be able to revise all the important topics multiple times. That's why we are using these summary documents. We have prepared these summary documents to reduce the number of pages that you will have to revise the second time. Right. So let us start with this 26th question. So 26th question is on the classification of industries. So industries, if you see, traditionally they are classified into various groups. So if you see traditional industries, so traditional large scale industries, so they are thickly clustered in few more developed countries, and you have the high tech large scale industries and so on and so forth. So normally if you see the sectors, the primary sector, secondary sector, tertiary sector, quaternary sector, all those things are there. We have seen all that in the previous video. So primary sector mostly deals with the agriculture, the raw materials and all. Secondary sector deals with the manufacturing industries. So in this manufacturing, again there are multiple industries. So first is the traditional large scale industries. These traditional large scale industries generally are the heavy industries. They are based on heavy industries, and they are generally located near the traditional coal fields and are engaged in metal smelting, heavy engineering, chemical manufacturing or textile production. They are called smokestack industries. These are the traditional large scale industries. Next you have the footloose industries. So footloose industries means generally they will not depend on any specific raw material, and they are situated far away from these raw materials in fact. But these traditional large scale industries are there closely, they are set up in a very close manner to these raw materials. That means a steel factory will be placed near a coal field, something like that. But footloose industries means they don't depend on the raw material. Raw material will come from somewhere else, and the industry will be located somewhere else. For example, the mobile manufacturing, you can say, that is the thing. Next, high tech industries. So high tech industries basically are the latest generation of the manufacturing, and it is best understood as the application of intensive R&D efforts. Okay, so the basic you can say these new age IT industries, the R&D, the electronic control of smelting and refining process, the constant development of new chemicals, pharmaceutical products. So all these industries which deal with high technologies, okay, they come under this high tech. Next you have the petrochemical industries. So petrochemical industries, if you see, they are responsible for the manufacturing and distribution of petrochemicals like polymers, fibers and its intermediaries and all. So this is about the industries and their classification. Next, the 27th question is on the rice. Rice is the major staple crop of the Indians, especially in South India. In North India, most of the people will have wheat, but in South India, mostly it is rice. Rice is the staple crop, and it is made up of high carbohydrates. It has high carbohydrates and provides instant energy. This is the major thing. That's why even if you consume more rice, you will not get that much of energy, and the energy will not sustain for long, because only instant energy you will be getting after the consumption of rice. So in rice, if you see, it is a kharif crop. It needs high temperature above 25 degrees centigrade, and it needs high humidity and annual rainfall above 100 centimeters. In areas with less rainfall, it can grow even with irrigation as well. That's why when this irrigation increased, the production of rice also increased in India. Okay, especially if you see in the northeast India, the coastal areas and delta regions, rice grows very well. Okay. And in southern states and West Bengal, the climatic conditions allow the cultivation of 2 to 3 crops of rice in a year, because they have water and they have even the required climate as well for this. In West Bengal, the farmers will grow 3 crops of rice called as Aus, Aman and Boro. 3 rice crops in a year. Okay, because they have plenty of water with them, because the Ganga flows through them, the Teesta river and all, because of that. But in Himalayas and northwestern part of India, it is grown as a kharif crop during the southwest monsoon season. So as you all know, we have 2 monsoon seasons, the southwest monsoon and the northeast monsoon. So during the southwest monsoon season, it is grown in the in the northwest India. Okay, and if you see the contribution, India contributes about 22%, 21.9% of the global rice production, and it is ranked second in production after China. So China is the largest producer of rice. And in India, West Bengal is the largest producer of rice, followed by UP, Andhra Pradesh. Right? So this is about the rice. Next, 28th question is on poison pill. So recently Twitter has adopted this poison pill. That's why it was in news. So actually, why it was in news is recently we have seen that Elon Musk has overtook this Twitter. So before overtaking by Elon Musk, earlier they have adopted various strategies to avoid this takeover plan. Okay, so that's why this was in news in fact. So Twitter has adopted a shareholder rights plan, which will reduce the likelihood of any entity, person, or group to gain control over Twitter through the open market accumulation of the shares. Right. So that is the thing. And this poison pill, basically what it does is it gives the existing shareholders an option to buy more shares at a lower price. So because of this, what will happen is that it will dilute a new hostile takeover by any person. And there are two types of poison pills. First is flip-in poison pill. So in this flip-in poison pill, it allows the shareholders, excluding the acquirer, to purchase additional shares at a discount. It dilutes the value of acquiring company it dilutes the value of the number of shares. The number of shares are the total value is varied, and with this they will stop the takeover. Next, a flip over. Flip over, it allows the shareholders of target company to purchase shares of acquiring company at reduced price. To purchase shares of acquired company at reduced price, and because of this, because it threatens to dilute and devalue stock of the cooperation attempting to take over the target, its tactic functions as a defense for the hostile takeover. That means here in the flip over, what they will do is, if they, let's say company A is targeting company B, the company B will then target company A, so that the A will not take over B. So this hostile takeover will be stopped. That is the thing about a poison pill. So see, for example, we just have to remember the poison pill is associated with the economy. So especially it is used in the takeover. It is a defense for stopping this takeover of companies. Just remember that thing. Next, 29th question is on the rail networks. The Trans-Siberian Rail Network, if you see, it connects European Russia to Siberia, runs from St. Petersburg in the west to Vladivostok in the east, passing via Moscow, Ufa, the Novosibirsk, Irkutsk, Chita, and so on. And this is the longest in the world. It crosses 8 time zones. Next, the Trans-Manchurian Railway, which is about 8,986 kilometers from Moscow to Beijing. It is the longest that ends in China. Next, Moscow to Beijing, the third longest railway, and parts of the route go through this Trans-Siberian line, but it is still a different rail line. It helps in opening up of Asian region to the West European markets. So its development with respect to the economic, political, and defense reasons is high. Okay. Right. Next, 30th question. The 30th question is on the iron and steel industry. The iron and steel industry is one of the major industry for the development of any nation. So whenever there is a steel in the news, definitely we can expect a question. So if you see the world crude steel production, 16.5% has been increased compared to May 2020, and Africa produced 1.4 million tons in October 2021, and which is up by 24.1%. So iron ore, if you see, it is a primary source for the steel manufacturing. 98% of the iron ore is used in steel making. In Europe, Sweden has good quality of iron ore. The major iron ore mining areas in Sweden, Kiruna, the Galiber, and Danmora. The Lorraine in France, it is the largest iron ore reserves in Europe. During the world wars and all, this region is something which was very much targeted. The Ruhr in West Germany, it is Europe's most densely populated region and largest industrial centers, famous for the coal storage and high quality coking coal. So this is about Ruhr. Next question, the 31st question is on the Mediterranean agriculture. So this Mediterranean agriculture question, if you see, so the agriculture in Mediterranean type of climate, so it is highly commercialized in general, and it is practiced in 5 major regions of the world. So the Mediterranean climate, this question basically deals with, and the Mediterranean climate can be found in these higher tropical regions, that is higher latitude, you can say, above the tropic regions at higher latitudes. So the regions, if you see, California, the central Chile, southern South Africa, all these things. So especially in the mid and high latitudes, both in north and south hemisphere, you can find this. So the verticulture of grape cultivation is a specialty. Verticulture is nothing but the grape cultivation, and the more valuable crops like fruits and vegetables are grown in winter season. It has great demand in Europe and America. Next 32nd question is based on various types of rural settlement patterns. So circular villages develop around lake and tanks. Central part remains open and used for animals to protect from the wild animals. So that means something you can say. Just a second, it will be. I'll just show you. Yeah. So circular type will be like this. Let's say this is a lake. So this is the lake, and around the lake you will find these houses like this. So this is called a circular pattern. And star-like pattern, it will be somewhat like the star. So here in this picture you can see. So here the roads will be like this, and you can find the houses here like this. So this is called star-like. Actually these are given in the diagrams, but these diagrams are not clear. So I've just shown you the illustration. Now let's move on to the next question. The 33rd question is on market gardening and horticulture. So as the name suggests, market gardening, horticulture. Horticulture generally deals with all the fruits, flower, vegetables and all. And market gardening also deals with the same thing. So it is the specialization in the cultivation of high value crops such as vegetables, fruits, flowers solely for the urban markets. Farms, they are small and located near good transportation links with the urban center, and a high income group of consumers will purchase them. The labor and capital intensive and emphasis, so it is basically all these horticulture things are all these capital intensive, labor intensive, the irrigation is needed, HYV seeds are important, fertilizers, insecticides, all these things are needed. And also right transportation system is very important for these things because they will spoil very fast. So this is about the market gardening and horticulture. So if you just know that term, what is market gardening, what is horticulture, in the exam you will be able to choose the correct answer. And another important term is the mixed farming. So the agriculture found in highly developed parts of the world, example the northwestern Europe, eastern North America, parts of Eurasia and the temperate southern continents, you can find this mixed farming. So this mixed farming is nothing but here in this, the crops are grown along with the livestock. So this type of thing is very advantageous for the farmers because they can parallelly grow crops and the animals can be reared, and also the commercial crops, agriculture crops, all can be grown. And this will also help in providing manure to the crops and all. Okay, this is about mixed farming. Next, Golden Quadrilateral. Remember, Golden Quadrilateral connects the 4 important metro cities: Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata and Delhi. So Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata. So these 4 cities are connected. Other cities like Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Baleshwar, that is Balasore, Bhubaneswar, Cuttack, Berhampur, Durgapur, Jaipur, Kanpur, Pune, Kolhapur, Surat, Vijayawada, Ajmer, Vizag, all these cities also come in this way. So they are also connected. So here you can see it connects all these major cities like this. So the 4 corners are connected. 4 important metro cities in fact. Next, the shale gas. 35th question is on the shale gas. So shale gas, if you see, it is the gas that is extracted from these sedimentary rocks. So remember, shale gas is extracted from the sedimentary rocks, not igneous or metamorphic. So this can be a direct question. If they just give a question on the shale gas, they will directly give you this statement. It is extracted, the shale is generally extracted from the sedimentary rocks. Like China have the world's largest shale gas reserves, followed by USA, Argentina, Mexico, South Africa, Australia and Canada. So China has largest shale gas reserves. USA and Canada, if you see, they are the major producers of this shale gas. China, only nation outside North America that registered commercially viable production of shale gas. In India, if you see, there are 6 onshore basins: the Cambay, the KG, that is Krishna Godavari basin, the Kaveri, Assam Arakam region, Ganga, Gondwana, Damodar region. So all these regions are identified for the shale extraction. So Krishna Godavari basin, if you see in the eastern India, it has the largest shale gas reserves in the country. It have 27 TCF of recoverable gas. The Kaveri basin in Tamil Nadu, if you see, it has a shale of 7 TCF and so on and so forth. So ONGC has drilled the country's first shale gas well in Jambusur in October in 2013 to exploit the natural gas trapped within shale formation in the Cambay basin. So if you just know this about the basic things about this shale gas, that is sufficient for us for the exam. Okay, now let's move on to the next question, that is 36th question. So 36th question, it is about the shifting cultivation. So shifting cultivation is that mode of farming which is followed in the humid tropics in the sub-Saharan Africa, Southeast Asia and South America. The farmers would cut the native vegetation, burn it and then plant crops in that for 2 to 3 seasons, and then they move to the next area. So it's nothing but in a forest, the people will come to an area. Let's say this is the whole forest. Will come to this area. Will clear this. They will cultivate, and then after a couple of years, they will move to next location. Here also they will do the same thing. So this is nothing but shifting cultivation. They will shift the cultivation. In India, 1.73 million hectares is under shifting cultivation, and 90% of it is in the northeast, based on the 2003 data. It is known by different names in different parts. It is known as Juming in northeastern states like Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagpur, the Pamlu in Manipur, Deepa in Bastar, district of Chhattisgarh and in Andaman. Juming, if you see, the slash and burn agriculture, also called as Milpa in Mexico, the Central American region, the Conuco in Venezuela, Roca in Brazil and so on. In India, it is called Bewar or Dahiya in Madhya Pradesh, the Podu or Penda in Andhra Pradesh. So if we just know the basic things in India, mostly this shifting cultivation can be found in northeast. Okay, shifting cultivation is also known by different names like the Juming cultivation and all. If we can just know these basic couple of things, that is sufficient for us for the exam. Next, 37th question is on the types of coal. There are 4 types: anthracite, bituminous, lignite, peat. Anthracite is the highest quality, followed by bituminous, after that lignite, and peat is the least quality of coal. Okay, so peat is the first stage of coal formation. It is formed from wood and it has high percentage of moisture in it, so that's why it is not of great quality. The carbon content is generally less than 40%. It burns like wood and gives more smoke and less heat. Next is lignite. So this lignite can be found in states like Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Assam, Jammu and Kashmir. The carbon is somewhat between 40 to 60%. It is soft but compact than peat. Next, bituminous. Bituminous is or you can say it's better than lignite. It is very hard and compact. The carbon content varies from 60 to 80%. 80% of this of the world's total coal is bituminous only. The total out of the total coal found in the world, 80% is bituminous. In India, if you see, it is found in Jharkhand, Odisha, West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. Then next is anthracite. Anthracite is the best quality of coal. It has no volatile matter. It does not ignite easily, but once lightened, it has highest heating capacity. Right, it leaves very less residue and ash. That is anthracite. And only 5% of the world's total coal is anthracite. So that means very less portion is anthracite. 80% is bituminous only, we just have seen. And in India, it is found in small quantities in Jammu and Kashmir. In USA, it is found mostly in the northeast Pennsylvania, less than 2% of all coal reserves. Small amounts of anthracite occurs in South Africa, Australia, Eastern Ukraine, West Canada and China. Okay. So this is about the types of coal. Next, 38th question is on irrigation. And so irrigation is nothing but providing water to the crops. Irrigation makes multiple cropping possible, because if you see, most of the land in India, more than 50% of the land is still dependent on rainfall. So we need proper irrigation, in fact. In general, the irrigated lands have high agricultural productivity than the unirrigated lands. The high yielding variety of crops need moisture supply, and it is made possible only by the developed irrigation systems. So the minor irrigation projects have the surface and groundwater as their source, while major and medium projects, they exploit the surface water mostly. Okay, and if you see the irrigation methods, so localized irrigation, where the water is distributed under low pressure through pipe networks in predetermined pattern. So the water from these dams and all these things will be used. It is called the low flow irrigation or the low volume irrigation. You also have the new types like the micro irrigation techniques, the drip irrigation, sprinkler irrigation, the bubbler irrigation. They are the micro irrigation techniques. You have the furrow irrigation, which is conducted by creating small parallel channels along the field length in the direction of predominant slope. That is called as furrow. So localized irrigation and furrow irrigation. So localized irrigation will generally in the same area, so they will use all these canals and all. Whereas in furrow irrigation, so parallel channels are generally used. Okay, that is about the types of irrigation. And just one more thing, the types of irrigation, if you see, the sprinkler, surface, drip and manual, these are the various types. And methods, as I said, the localized and the furrow. In localized, in simple words, how you can understand is, let's say this is the field, a pipe or any small channel will be used to supply the water like this. That is called as this localized irrigation. Whereas in furrow, parallel channels are used. Next, the 39th, commercial grain cultivation. If you see, it is practiced in the interior parts of the semi-arid lands of mid latitudes. Generally, the wheat, corn, barley, oats, they are grown. The size of the farm is very large and most of the cultivation is mechanized. And this is a low yield per acre but high yield per person. Because the area is large, the crops are cultivated on very large scale. So the production, though it will be high, but the yield will be generally very low. Due to excessive nature of cropping patterns, productivity per unit area of the land remains very low. Only in some parts of the northwestern Europe, the productivity is at par with the intensive cultivation. Right. So if you see all these European countries, the US and all these countries, the population is less, whereas the land availability is too huge. So in those kind of semi-arid regions, they will try to grow these, commercially grow these grains and all. Right. That is the thing. Next, type of agriculture. If you see, it is developed in this type of agriculture is developed in European steppes, Canadian and American prairies, pampas of Argentina, velds of South Africa, downs of Australia, the Canterbury plains of New Zealand. See, these are the things you have to remember. These are the things you have to remember. In the exam, they are asking directly. Pampas can be found where? In Argentina. Steppes can be found in the Eurasian region. And also, the Central Asian region is also called steppes. Okay, in the Eurasian region, you will find these steppes. In Canada and America, they are called prairies. These are vast lands. These are vast grasslands to a certain extent. America and Canada, they are prairies. Pampas of Argentina. In South Africa, they are called velds. They are called downs in Australia. So in Australia, it is in the down. So you can remember downs in Australia. Velds. So you veld, this name you can find in some of the South African cricketers. You can remember like that. The veld in South Africa. The Canterbury plain of New Zealand. Canterbury in New Zealand. Canadian, American, it is called prairies. So they does this prayer, so they can be called as prairies. The pampas of Argentina. So pumps will be there on the ground or in the underground. So here in the southern hemisphere, and you can find this pampas especially in the Argentina region. Right? So like that, you can just use some mnemonic or something, some technique to remember this. Otherwise, it's very difficult to remember all these things. Now let's look at the 40th question, which is on the footloose industry. Footloose industries are those industries which does not need any raw material which is produced in that region. That means they can be set up at a far off region from where the raw material is produced. That is the thing. So these footloose industries are not dependent on any specific raw materials or weight losing raw materials. For example, let's take the sugar factory. The sugar factory has to be near to the sugarcane producing region. Otherwise, by the time this sugarcane is transported, the sugarcane will lose all its moisture and water from which this sugar is produced. So it is a loss. But these footloose industries generally, for example, the leather industry, or for example, this industry which produces shoes, footballs, or all these things, they are called as these footloose industries. They enable quick product improvement of the quick product improvements, and they can cater to the market demands very easily. They can be set up also very easily. What are the features of this footloose industry? Light industries, they do not use raw materials of that region, but various components they just import and they will produce. The power requirements usually is the electricity which is available from the national grid. The end products is small and often cheaper. They employ small labor force. They are non-polluting industries and can be located near the residential areas. What they need is accessibility, and they have to be near to the road network. That is about these footloose industries. Next, the Swanidhi se Samriddhi scheme. Swanidhi se Samriddhi scheme launched by the Government of India. This scheme is in addition to the PM Swanidhi scheme launched by Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs with the partnership of the Quality Council of India. So what is the aim of this basically? The aim is generally, it is basically to produce the social security benefits to the street vendors. The PM Swanidhi scheme is a microcredit facility plan to provide small and affordable loans up to 10,000 rupees to more than 50 lakh street vendors, because they have taken a hit because of the COVID. So now they need some support to restart their business. For that, this scheme will be very helpful. So this scheme basically, The Swanidhi Samriddhi scheme is launched in 126 cities and not in whole of India by Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Remember this. Right. Next question is on the population density. So population density is nothing but the number of people living in a square kilometer, you can say. Okay, number of people per square kilometer. The concentration of individuals in a specific geographic location is the population density. The physical factors like favorable landforms like river valleys, they have a higher concentration of population. Example, Ganga Brahmaputra plains in India, and the fertile soils have very high density across the globe. The economic factors, if you see, the regions with little or no economic opportunities tend to be sparsely populated, because most of the people will live in the areas where there is economic activity, where there are industries. But when the economic activity is less, the people also will not live there. Osaka in Japan and Mumbai in India are densely populated regions. Immigration is moving outward, whereas immigration is coming inward. Immigration will lead to increase in population. So how you can remember this immigration and immigration? So whenever you are coming from any foreign country, or whenever you are going to any foreign country, this immigration has to be cleared. So that means coming inside a country is nothing but immigration, because when you go to a country, after you clear the immigration, only then you are allowed to enter into that country. That is called as immigration. That is, so you can just remember like that. Immigration means going out, immigration means coming in. I means in, coming in. Like that you can remember. Next, 43rd question. This is on mica. So mica is a non-metallic mineral. It has unique combination of elasticity, toughness, flexibility and transparency, and it possesses resistance to heat and sudden changes in temperature and high dielectric strength. That's why it is used in electrical appliances and electronic industry. It can be split into very thin sheets, which is tough and flexible. So mica production, if you see, Andhra Pradesh is the highest producer of mica, followed by Rajasthan, Odisha, Maharashtra and Bihar. In Rajasthan, mica extends for about 320 kilometers from Jaipur to Bhilwara and around Udaipur. The mica deposits occur in Mysore and Hassan district of Karnataka, Coimbatore, Tiruchirappalli, Madurai, Kanyakumari in Tamil Nadu, Alleppey in Kerala, Ratnagiri in Maharashtra and so on. And Government of India has declared this mica as a minor mineral, remember, because these days major mineral, minor mineral in 2020, I think we have seen this question also. So they can be asked. Mica is a minor mineral. So this is used in India since ancient days, known as abharak. India has nearly monopoly in the production of mica. It produces 60% of the world's total production. And there is steady downfall in the production of mica due to the falling demand, because various other alternatives have come in the market. And in India, if you see, it is produced in Jharkhand, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Rajasthan, followed by Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh. In Jharkhand, the high quality mica is obtained in the belt extending to 150 kilometers in length and 22 kilometers in width in the lower Hazarwang Plateau. In Andhra Pradesh, Nellore district produces best quality mica. The Nellore district is in Andhra Pradesh. Right, so mica, so if you see, highest producing state is Andhra Pradesh. In world, highest mica producing country is India. Mica is used in electrical and electronic industries. So these are the 4 things that we have to remember from this. Next, manganese. Manganese is a black hard iron like metal. So manganese is a metal. Mica, if you see, mica is actually a non-metal. Mica is a non-metal, whereas manganese is a metal. And the manganese is if you see, it is not found as a free element in nature, and it is found in combination with iron. So manganese is not found alone in nature. It is used for, the manganese is generally used for manufacturing of bleaching powder, insecticides, the glazed pottery, matches, batteries, china clay and so on. In South Africa, if you see, it is the world's largest producer of manganese. Manganese is a metal, and the mining is concentrated in the Kalahari Desert. So Kalahari Desert, where it is located? It is located in South Africa. And the Kalahari Desert holds about 70% of this manganese. With the annual production of 1 million ton, Brazil is the 5th largest manganese producer. Produces 10% of it has 10% of the reserves. Okay. Japan is the largest buyer of Indian manganese. 2/3 of the total export goes to Japan only. Other buyers are US, UK and so on. So largest producer in the world is South Africa. For India, if you see, Japan is the largest buyer. So manganese is another thing is manganese is a metallic mineral. So these three things if we can remember, that is sufficient. Next, raw materials of iron and steel industry. Iron and steel industry uses various raw materials. They are iron ore, coking coal, limestone, dolomite, manganese and fire clay. Because iron ore it is the base from which we will get the steel. Coking coal is used for the heating and all, for the burning. And limestone, they are used as additives. Dolomite and all, manganese, they are the additives. Okay, so all these things. So these are the raw materials. So all these are the raw materials. And the gross weight, the gross or the weight lost during transportation will definitely impact production. So that's why they are generally, the plants are located near these mining areas. Next, 46th question, it is on the commercial farming. Commercial farming. So commercial farming, as the name suggests, the farming is done here for the market demands, to meet the market demands for the profitability. It can either be intensive or extensive. To keep the production cost low, most modern methods of cultivation are employed in this. So it is generally employed in areas where there is less population. In India, we generally don't find this. The commercial agriculture developed in Punjab, Haryana, Gujarat, Maharashtra, UP, West Bengal, Assam, they are there, that's it, not in all the states. The main characteristic is the usage of high doses of modern inputs like the high yielding variety of seeds, chemical fertilizer, insecticides, pesticides. Rice is a commercial crop in Haryana and Punjab, but in Odisha it is a subsistence crop. And in subsistence farming, only for it is produced only for personal and not for commercial use. Okay. In the nomadic farming, the farmers do not stick to a place. Instead, they keep moving with animals in search of water and land and pasture. The types of mixed farming, if you see, it incorporates crop cultivation and livestock in a single farm. That is the mixed farming. So crops also will be produced, animals also will be grown. 47th question, it is on the digitized Form J. Punjab is the first state in the country to give this digitized Form J in real time to the farmers for the Rabi procurement. So a J form, if you see, it is a sale receipt. So the J form, if wherever you find, it is nothing but a sale receipt. And these days the digitized form is also given, the digitized sale form is given in Punjab. These forms are issued by Ardhiyas, who are the commission agents. They can be used for raising finance, IT waivers, subsidy claims, etc. They can also be stored in digital locker as it is a digital document. Right. Next, 48th question is on Turkey. So here the question is about Turkey as a country and not the turkey bird. Turkey, if you see, it has various bridges. It has various bridges, some important famous bridges like the Martyrs Bridge, like the Mehmed Bridge, the Selim Bridge, Galata Bridge and all. These are very iconic bridges. Especially the Mehmed Bridge is very famous. Okay. But Turkey, if you see, as a country, it is between Europe and Asia. It bridges continents of Europe and Asia. So there is Europe part of Turkey as well as Asian part of Turkey. The political boundaries, if you see, Bulgaria and Greece in northwest, Russia, Ukraine, Romania are connected through Black Sea, Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan and Iran to the east, Syria and Iraq in the south. So you can just see here in the map, this is Turkey. So here you have Bulgaria and all, here you have Syria and so on. Okay, here you have the Black Sea, this is the Sea of Marmara. Okay, this is the Sea of Marmara and all. And if you see the largest lake in Turkey, it is Lake Van. It is also a saltwater lake, and the main rivers are Euphrates, Kizilmak and Sakarya. Highest peak is Mount Ararat. Right, so these are the important things, and you also have the Aegean Sea, which connects the Black Sea with the Mediterranean Sea. Here you have the Aegean Sea. Black Sea and Mediterranean Sea is connected through the Aegean Sea. So these are the important things about Turkey. Right, so next important thing for us is copper. 49th question. It talks about copper. This question is directly on the copper. So the questions on copper, iron ore, we will generally find in the paper in some or the other way. So you have to have very clear idea about these things. So copper, if you see, it is an important component for the electrical industry for making wires, electrical motors, transformers and all. It is used for making utensils and coins for long. alloyable, malleable and ductile mixed with gold to provide strength to jewelry. India's refined copper imports more than doubled in 2018-19. The export of refined copper dropped. India imported copper from US, Canada, Zimbabwe and Mexico. The copper deposits occur in Singhbum in Jharkhand, Balghat in MP, the Junjunu and Alwar districts in Rajasthan. So largest reserves of this copper, they are there in Rajasthan, followed by Jharkhand. Generally, we will see all the mines we will find in the Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, in this region. But copper, if you see, the Khetri mines is very famous for this in Rajasthan. So you can remember like that. Rajasthan is the leading producer. Rajasthan, it has the largest reserve. But if you see the leading producer, it is Madhya Pradesh. Rajasthan has largest reserve, but Madhya Pradesh is the highest producer. Remember this. And the Malanjkhand copper project, it is the largest copper ore producing mine with 2 million tons production capacity per year. This is about copper. So next, the 50th question is on the solar power capacity. So solar has been promoted by almost all the countries, you can say. We have the International Solar Alliance founded by India and France. And why it was in news is the solar power capacity. India may miss its 2022 target of installing the 100 gigawatt solar power capacity. In April 2022, 50% of 100 gigawatt target was met and 60 gigawatt of utility scale and 40 gigawatt of rooftop capacity was met. That means to a certain extent if we met about 50%, but remaining 50% to achieve it by end of year is not easy. So that's why it was in news and the question was asked. It ranks 5th in terms of installed solar power capacity. India rank is 5 and the causes for the lag is disruption of this supply chain due to COVID, the limits to net metering, tax on import cells and modules, etc. India has set a target of achieving a total installed capacity of 100 gigawatt by 2022 and 300 gigawatt by 2030 under this Jawaharlal Nehru National Solar Mission 2010. And also we have the International Solar Alliance, and also India has committed for this renewable sources for reduction of this fossil fuel usage and all via this Panchamrit scheme. So all these things are there. Next, 51st question. The 51st question, if you see, it is on the lowland tropical cash crops. So the wide range of lowland tropical cash crops, if you see, they are cultivated in the tropical monsoon climate. Cane sugar, 2/3 of the world's sugar production come from tropical countries. 1 is Brazil, 2 is India. Olive tree, it is cultivated in the Mediterranean climate. So sugarcane is a tropical climate, tropical climate crop. Olive tree is a Mediterranean climate. It is hard, is a Mediterranean climate crop. So this olive tree is hard and long rooted and can survive even on very poor limestone soil with less than 10 inches of annual rain. And cocoa, if you see, cocoa is also a tropical plantation crop. And two most important producers are Ghana and Nigeria for cocoa. 52nd question is on crude oil. The crude oil is classified into two types, sweet and sour crude, depending upon the content of sulfur. It is sweet if it contains relatively little sulfur, about 0.5, or sour if it contains substantial amount of sulfur. So depending on the sulfur, it will either be a sweet or sour. Okay, that is about crude oil. Iraq is the largest producer of sweet crude, and sour crude, if you see, it has highest level of impurities, and Venezuela is the leading producer of sour crude. Iraq is for sweet crude, Venezuela is for sour crude. It is sour. Next, 53rd question is on the collective or the kolkhoz farming. So collective or kolkhoz farming is introduced by Soviet Union. That means social ownership of means of production and collective labor, introduced to improve farming and efficiency and self-sustainability in agricultural production. In cooperative farming, where the farmers pool in their resources and ownership remains as per their share in the resource, so that there is no social ownership. So kolkhoz was not about cooperative farming, because in cooperative farming the farmers pool in their resources to create a large land with enough resources for the cultivation. Next, 54th question is on pulses. India is the largest producer and consumer of pulses in the world. Contribution of India is 24%, and India is the largest importer and cultivator. Rajasthan, Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh, they are the top pulse producing states in the country. So these pulses grow in Kharif, Rabi and Zaid seasons, in all the seasons. Average yield, if you see India, it is lesser, whereas in Bahrain the average yield is very high, about 18,485 kg per hectare. So this pulses occupy 11% of the total cropped area in the country, and it being a rain-fed crop of dry land, the yields are generally low. Pulses are also leguminous crops, that means they provide nitrogen to the soil, okay, and they also help in restoring of soil fertility. 55th question, the next question is on the tribes. The Bindibu or Aborigines are the tribe of Australia. They are the primitive hunter and collector, inhabit greatly in the sandy desert and Gibson desert of Australia. You have the Bushman tribe. The Bushman tribe of Kalahari desert in Africa, they are the primitive hunters and cultivators. Bushman in Africa. Gobi Mongols. So Gobi, the Mongols are the nomadic herdsmen in the Central Asian region. So these are the various tribes. Next, 56th question is on the Indian tent turtle. Indian tent turtle. So Indian tent turtle is in the Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. IUCN status is least concern. Indian tent turtle, IUCN status least concern. Common habitats are Orissa, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Madhya Pradesh, etc. This is about the tent turtle. Next, 57th question. 57th question is on the states, their latitude and all. Rajasthan is there in between 23.5 degrees, 23.3 degrees to 30.12 degrees north latitude, and 69.3 degrees to 78.17 degrees on the east longitude. Odisha extends from 17 degrees 31 minutes north to 22 degrees 31 minutes north latitude. Gujarat is located between 20 degrees to 24 degrees north latitude. So this is about the geography. So we just have to know from which states the Tropic of Cancer flows. It passes through which all states, okay, and also the bordering countries are bordering which state. All of these things we will have to know. Next, 58th question is on plantation. So plantation is a commercial cultivation where on a single piece of land you will cultivate a single crop. For example, tea plantation, coffee plantation and all. It is the interface between agriculture and industry. The plantation covers large tracts of land. In India, coffee, rubber, tea, sugarcane, banana, they are cultivated under this plantation. In fact, Karnataka, if you see, it is the important plant. It has important plantation crops. Almost all the crops are there over there. Some important plantation crops are tea, coffee, cocoa, rubber, cotton, oil palm, sugarcane, bananas, and pineapples. Some of the coffee fazendas, which are large plantations in Brazil, they are managed by the Europeans only. Right. So 59th question, this is on the agroclimatic classification. Agroclimatic classification, and the climate classification keeping in view of sustainability for agriculture. The National Commission on Agriculture 1971 classified country into 127 agroclimatic zones, and the emphasis was on the development of resources and their optimum utilization within the resource constraint and potential of each region. So that is the thing about this agroclimatic zones. So these are the various agroclimatic zones. You can just look for it, and if you want more information on it, you can visit the government websites. Next, 60th question is on minerals. Bulk of valuable minerals are products of this pre-Paleozoic, and they are in the metamorphic and igneous rocks of peninsular India. The vast alluvial plain tracts of North India is devoid of the minerals for the economic use. So India does not have enough minerals which can be used for economic gains. The metallic minerals is divided into ferrous and non-ferrous. Ferrous means iron. Non-ferrous means copper, zinc, lead, nickel, silver, gold, and other small or minor minerals like tungsten, molybdenum, tantalum, and special metals like cobalt, germanium, indium, and so on. And the non-metallic minerals include, they can either be organic like the fossils, right, or inorganic like mica, limestone, graphite, etc. And the minerals have certain characters like they are unevenly distributed. The inversely the inverse relation between the quality and quantity of minerals is seen, where good quality ones are less in quantity than the low quality ones. All are exhaustible over time. It takes long to develop, but it can and also it takes long time to replenish, but it takes very less time to use all these fossil fuels which are there. Okay, so these are the various things with regarding the minerals, right? So this is these are the questions for the day. Tomorrow we will discuss from question number 61 to question number 100. Okay, so that's it guys from my side. I'll see you again with the next set of questions. Till then, keep studying and stay tuned. Jai Hind.